All right, Bewitches, welcome back to Bewitched Banter's part 2 of Numerology Readings with numerologist Tina Miller. She's going to take us through what the numbers all mean one more time, 1 through 9, and then do Amy's reading and then do my readings. So enjoy.
The life path number is, as I said, there's 6 numbers in a chart. Your life path number is your most important number because that is like your life purpose. That's everything wrapped, your soul's urge, your birthday, your destiny number, all that is wrapped up into your life path. And so again, it's out of those 6 numbers, it's the most important number in your chart. And then as I do your readings, I'll show you how that number relates to other numbers like it in your life. And you may be surprised to be like, huh, I've always liked this number. I didn't know why. And I really believe in looking at like superstars and their lives. And, you know, with Taylor Swift, she was born on the 13th, which with numerology, you keep adding one number, the numbers till you get 1. So 1 plus 3 is actually 4. And Taylor has got some 4s in her chart. And it's just interesting. People will tell me all my favorite number is an 8. Why is that? And sometimes it's in their chart. And sometimes it's just the energy of that number that people resonate with.
You sound like you have done 35,000 readings, right? You've met a lot of people, right? 3,500. Okay.
Yeah, I would say probably closer to 3,000, but yeah, I would say 2,500 to 3,000.
Okay. But by doing that, I'm sure you've learned a lot about people through numerology, right? Can you tell us a little bit of what you've learned about people?
Yeah, I would say some people are skeptical at the beginning. And when I start sharing the numbers, it really does open people up to say, oh, wow, I really get it now. Now I understand it. Even if it's just one thing that they're like, yeah, I agree with that. But when I do I do numerology reports. And so one of the things that I do in there, I will say, in some of the report, people can ask me 3 questions based on their numerology report. And when I found there's usually 4 categories that people ask about: money, relationships, work, or health. And so I think that's a universal theme across everybody and almost every reading I've done. It's one of those 4 areas that people really want to know more about, how the numbers relate to that issue in their lives. But like with everything else, it just depends. It just depends. Because you also have astrology is one, and numerology, and there's other things, divination, and all these things where it depends on people's life experiences. There's a lot of things that go into it. And so numerology is really just with what I did with both you and Amy. I did do all 6 numbers, but I think that's going to get a little confusing in this. So I'm going to focus on the last 3 numbers, which are the birthday numbers. But let me just say, so number 1 is about independence. So you think about number 1 as being number 1. It's all about me being number 1. Number 1s are independent. They are competitive. They are strong-minded. They are leaders because number 1 is first, leading the pack.
I was going to guess Amy's a number 1, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm wrong.
Amy doesn't have a 1. Amy doesn't have a 1 in her chart, but I will tell you that, okay, remember I said to you ladies that every letter resonates with a number. I can walk into a room, and if I know the first vowel of the person's first name, I can tell you things about. Amy starts with an A, so she has a 1. S, so she has a 1. E, it resonates to a 5. I resonates to a 9. O resonates to a 6. U resonates to a 3. And then Y, which can be used sometimes as in Amy, where the Y sounds like a vowel, that resonates to a 7. So we got the 1 down. The 1 is the leader. Number 2 is the lover, because you think of the 2 as a couple. So people that have 2s in their charts are very sensitive. They're very intuitive. They have psychic abilities. And again, ladies, I'm reading on the positive side, but I will tell you a little bit about the negative side too. 2s are very sensitive. You can read their emotions all over their face. They wear their heart on their sleeves. They love to tell other people what to do. And sometimes if people don't listen to them, they can turn into martyrs. And if 2s don't get their way, they turn into the terrible 2s, where they will have tantrums and strike out. Now, Amy, you don't have any 2s in your chart, so you can relax. And you do either, actually. Neither of you ladies have them in your chart. And then 3s are one of my favorite numbers, but 3 about communication. It's about the arts. It's about entertainment. It's about brightness, lightness, fun. 3 is the life of the party. On this negative side of the 3, 3s can be very moody. When they get down, they get way down, but usually they can bounce back. But threes also, they love to be social. They love friends. They love parties. And Amy, this actually goes for you because you were born on a 3-day. But anyway, you and I actually were both born on the 30th of a day, which I'll get into in a minute. But yeah, but on the negative side of the threes, like I said, they can be moody. They could not want to make friends. They could just be very introverted. The threes, typically, you know when a 3 walks into a room. Fours, 4 is, and Krista, listen up because this is your life path. But I'll get into that in a minute. 4s are the number of the teacher. So 4s are like stability. They like practicality. They like to have a plan. So 4s, if you think of 4 wall, structure, foundation. 4s tend to be very steady. They like to learn and they like to teach. So 4s are solid. 5s, the life of the party too. 5 are the adventurers. They're about freedom, fun, and adventure. So 5 is this kind of a wild number, which Krista, this is the personal year you're in right now. But 5s like to do new things. They like spontaneity. They like to travel. They also can be prone to addiction, sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever. But 5s are very sensory-minded people. If they're in a restaurant and the music's too loud, it will drive them crazy. If they're wearing a shirt and the tag is scratching the back of their neck, they can't handle it. But 5s are also, they're a little, I'm going to say unhinged, but sometimes you don't know what to expect sometimes with the 5. 5s are all about change. This is my life path, so I know what I'm talking about. But 5s love change. They love flexibility. They do not like things that are always laid out for them. They like to have an aspect of change. 6 is a beautiful number. 6 is the number of the nurturer. They're a parent number. People have 6 in their charts over and over again. I see that they love to dress, if they don't have children, or even if they do have children, they love pets. They love to dress their pets up for Halloween. 6s are also leaders. Now, the 1 is a leader by, I'm going this way, whether you like it or not. I'm decisive. 6 is more about consensus. They're about, okay, everybody get together and let's work on it. But 6s are also about relationships. They're about nurturing. But on the negative side of the 6, they're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. So they're always like, okay, it's going so great, but I know it can't go. If you have a 6 in your chart, typically what I've seen with men is they typically like to date women that need to be rescued.
Captain Playboys.
Yeah, I know. But they're the kind, they're little Rapunzel, put down your hair. They're very much like into saving women. Now, if a woman has a 6 in her chart, which I have a couple of those, they tend to attract men who are emotionally immature. Yeah, because they like to mother a partner. Well, that always doesn't work either. A 7, when curiously is Amy's like that. A 7 is the number of the loner, the mystic, and the critic.
Oh, okay.
A 7, yeah. So a 7 is a beautiful number, but they don't get along with most of the other numbers of the chart. 7s are very much, if a spaceship came down on your front lawn and you would be like, oh my God, thank you. I don't know who these people are. I'm not like these people. 7s get disappointed with people. And a lot of 7s are veterinarians because they'd rather deal with animals than humans. Yeah, but interestingly enough, 7 is the number of the mystic. And so a lot of 7s, if they don't have either religion or spirituality in their lives, they feel like something is missing because they are the one number in the chart that they are closer and aware of their purpose in life and what they need to do to be here than others. And if they're not aware of that, then they get cranky. Now, 7s, there are some 7s too. 7 men are beautiful. 7 men they have sometimes feminine features. Tom Hanks, Donny Osmond, Heath Ledger, God rest his soul. But a lot of 7 men are leading actors in Hollywood. Now, 8s are about money, power, and influence. So an 8 is about making decisions. 8s are the executives. They're the leaders that a lot of times deal with money. But 8s, a very straightforward energy. They don't mince words, but they're about power. They want to amass a lot of power. But they also, you need 8s because 8 can help people manage their money. Or if they're on the negative side of the 8, money is going out as fast as it's coming in. 9, which is appropriate, the last number of the spectrum is the number of the humanitarian. So a 9 kind of encompasses all of those numbers because it's the last on the spectrum. 9 with humanitarians, a lot of 9s, when I see an I as the first letter of the first name, Krista, you and I have that in common. I's typically have had issues with relationships in the past, either their parents or their siblings, where they may have felt that they were abandoned at some point when they were younger, or they have issues. Am I speaking your language? Is that why you?
Triggered a husband emotionally abandoning me.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like nines typically have people that leave them. Now, if they're on the positive side of their nines, Michelle Obama has some nines in her chart. They're all about being great mothers, great fathers, because nines also want to be better parents than how they were parented. I can definitely say that's my issue. But nines are the humanitarian. Mother Teresa was a nine. Elvis Presley was a nine, life path. And so they're here to move humanity forward. If they are on the negative side of the nines, they don't trust people. They don't believe in things. They believe that everybody's a victim and that everybody should just pull themselves up by the bootstraps and keep on moving. So that's a review. Now, when you have a zero, zero has no value, but when you are born on the 10th, the 20th, or the 30th of a month, like Amy, you and I are both born on the 30th of a month, that zero behind you gives you an extra oomph for what the number is before that. So if you're a one, if you're born on a 10-day, then a lot of times you're going to be a powerful leader because one is about leaders. If you're born the 20th of a day, that means when you got that zero behind that too, it means that you are here to be loving. You're here to help other people. Two is about partnership. It's about you helping other people, not necessarily leading. You're helping to support others. You and I both born on the 30th of a day. It's about communication. It's about we get that zero gives us an extra dose of communication, of being able to build relationships. And sometimes 3 is the number of the artist. And so a lot of times I see people that are born on the 30th that they have a sincere interest in the arts or writing or talking.
I don't know if you knew this, Tina, but Amy studied fine arts. And actually, she designed our Bewitched Banter cover art.
Hello, Amy. See, I told you.
The numbers aren't lying.
Number 3 is the number. My son is a 3 life path, and he's a performer. He's in college. He's a singer. He loves art. He loves all that stuff. 3s are if you have a 3 in your chart, it's almost guaranteed that somewhere in your life, there's something you create for self-expression. You are some artist of some sort.
Okay.
But yeah, the 3 is one of my favorite numbers. I'm getting a little hot. I'm sorry, ladies. When I get going, I talk really fast because I get these.
Stop interrupting.
No, this is fun. I like this. It's a lot of fun.
I get these downloads. I get things that come to me. So I'm just anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read your birthday numbers. So in the 6 numbers of the chart, the first 3, we're going to set those aside because those are based on your name. Okay. But I will read the last 3. Your birthday is 5/30/1988, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with your birthday number. So you were born on the 30th of a month, which I've explained just now, but born on the 30, you have artistic ability. Do you like to be around people, or do you find that you don't like to be around people?
It depends. There's certain people I'm close to. I always love to be around people I'm close to, but I find meeting new people, I have to put myself out of my element. It's more of an effort for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm introverted,
It does.
extroverted. I think I'm a little bit of both.
Yeah. And that could be the 3. The 3 can be extroverted, and certain 3s are very versatile. And so 3s, very much similar to Pisces, which you are,
Gemini.
you 5/30, you're a Gemini. Yeah. You got the twins going on. But 3s can be very versatile. They're really usually good conversationalists. But I can tell you another reason why I know you're a 3, because of your appearance, because 3s always have to look good. Either if they're running to the grocery store or whatever, they always have to have a nice appearance. They really care about how they look. And yeah, so I gather that is also you. And like you said, you have some creative artistic abilities. 3s are highly creative. Usually 3s are the life of the party. So I think when you're on, you are probably on. When you're off,
I think that's true. And then
and when you're off,
if you see me at home, usually when I'm hanging out with my husband on the couch, is a whole different story about looking good. But yeah, I think that lines up though, being the life of the party, but then also I have to have my time at home to recharge and be by myself quite a bit.
And 3s can be highly sensitive with people too. And so they have to be careful that they don't pick up other people's energy, because that can drain them. And you can, even if you're a skeptic or a non-believer, that doesn't mean that you don't feel other people's energy. If you're with somebody that's negative most of the day, it's going to affect you. And it affects threes a lot because threes typically are relationship builders. Threes are communicators. Like I've been in PR my whole career, and it suits me because I was born on a 3 day. Because you're really born on a 3 day, Amy, not a 30. But the 0, we drop the 0.
Okay.
But born on a 30, again, that gives you. I can imagine you're wildly creative. Because that 0 gives you an extra dose of creativity, of being a good communicator. Do you plan parties? Do you like to plan parties?
Not so much. I used to be like that, but
Okay.
I'm more of a person who likes to get together like one-on-one with people instead of parties.
Yeah. And I understand that because threes are also, they're about relationships. Relationships are one of the most important things to a 3. The thing that I know this about me, I don't know if about you, but for me, 3s love to be busy. They love to be needed. And if I open up my calendar and I don't see anything with friends for a month, or if I don't see anything on my calendar, it's like death to me. 3s have to constantly be looking forward to something. And if they don't have something, it makes them nervous. 3s like people to text them. They like emails. They like people to call them because they like to know that they're needed and people want them in their lives. If 3s don't have strong relationships or they're more introverted, it can be tough for them because 3 is a natural extroverted energy. Now, on the negative side of the 3s, like I've mentioned previously, 3s are prone to being very moody, and especially in 3s are if they're around a lot of negative people or a lot of negative energy, they can take that on, and it's really hard for them to bounce back if they're constantly being bombarded with negativity, because the 3's essence is lightness, it's liveliness, it's fun. And 3s have to be very careful who they choose to have in their lives, because if you have people that are negative or constantly criticizing you, it's going to be hard for 3s to continually bounce back from that. 3 is a great number, but some people can't handle 3s. Some people think 3s are a little too much. There was a guy I thought was really cute until I heard he said, "Oh no, Tina Miller's a little too much for me." I'm like, okay, I got to move on because I am who I am. You are a 7 life path. Now, the one thing I didn't explain is a 7 life path how you get that is you add all your numbers across. So I added 5 plus 3, drop the 0. So 5 plus 3 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8. And as I added those numbers across, I got to 7. So you are a 7 life path, which is the life path of the loner, which is in direct conflict with your 3.
Because the 3 I really identify with, because I do think relationships are like at my core the most important thing to me. And like what you were saying, I was like, that's totally on. But earlier when you read the 7, when you said loner mystic, I was like, I don't identify with that number. So I'm interested to see what you have to say about that.
Right. Well, so the 7 either thanks God or thinks they're God. And 7s tend to have this kind of attitude of, I'm superior to you because I know more than you. And I don't know why Krista is she's laughing hysterically on this.
Funny story. She's not at all like that kind of conceited by any means. No, at all. Now that I know her dearly. But funny story is, when we first met, it was through my ex-husband and her current husband, and we were bandwives, if you will. That's how they knew each other. And I remember being like around her and being like, she's not a bitch. Like,
I don't think and everyone else I've told that story doesn't get that impression. I don't know. I must have given Krista a certain impression. I am very honest. I say what I think a lot.
But yeah, so she certainly doesn't have a God complex, superiority complex by any means. But I thought it was like when I got the air of confidence, which I mistook with my inconfident self as like bitchy, right? You know what I mean? I conflated that for her personal confidence. But anyway, that's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, 7s are really hard to figure out because they're not like any other number on the chart. You have 7 wonders of the world. You have 7 days of a week. But 7s is a difficult energy. And I've read there was a guy I went to high school with, a dear friend of mine. He had 3 7s in his chart. And I'm like, tell me you are in your man cave 24/7. And he's because 7s need alone time. And like I said, people drain you easily. people drain sevens faster than anybody else. And so sevens always have to have time to themselves. And if they don't, they get very antsy, because seven is the number of the loner and the hermit. A lot of sevens I know, they're happy just cocooning at home or being by themselves. If you have a she shed or whatever those things are called, like going off on a place by yourself because you're like, you know what, I need time to recharge from this, which in your three is saying, I love people. I like to be around people. I like to do things. And then your seven, which is the most powerful number in your chart, is the seven, is we got to turn this down because I need some time away. Like I need to settle down. And a couple other things here, sevens and fours, which Krista, you are a 4 life path. So the two of you, this is where I think that both of you resonate with each other. 4 and sevens are the numbers of intelligence. I'm not saying that the other numbers are stupid, but sevens are very intellectual and analytical. They like to turn things around. They like to look at different angles. They like to be like, I need to investigate this a little bit more because I'm not taking anything at face value. Whatever you say, I got to do some research on my own. Now, for you, the other thing is 7 is a number of the mystic and the intuitive. However, for you, again, I'm not saying you're a negative 7. I'm just saying it's natural for you to be a 7 and question spirituality or question numerology or question whatever. That's part of a 7. A 7 is the most inquisitive number. They keep asking questions. Why? Why? And other people, that's why 7s, there's only a few numbers in the spectrum that get along with 7s, because most people think that 7s, they just get on their nerves because they're like, why can't you just agree with me on something? But it's not in 7's nature. 7's nature, they have to come to their own conclusion. They're independent and private. I mentioned that about the veterinarians, inquisitive, and they're critical thinkers. They really take time to go through things, and they're slow and methodical. They're not spontaneous, which again is running counter to your 3. But again, your 7, I don't like this word, but your 7 trumps every other number in your chart. Reserved and introverted, most 7s are not outgoing. Most 7s are very introverted. They're happy being at home and not having to deal with people. And they're philosophical. They like the sciences. They like math. They like all those things which is interesting if you're that way, because your 3 is, this is too boring for me. But some things here, other people that are a 7 life path like you, Leonardo DiCaprio, Marilyn Monroe, Julia Roberts, Al Pacino, Princess Diana.
Oh, I love her.
And if you remember, if you watch The Crown or if you read anything about her, she was very introverted. She was not an extrovert. And she spent a lot of her later years by herself, and at least according to The Crown. But Princess Diana is the epitome of a 7. And 7s, people are fascinated by 7s because they can't figure them out. Antonio Banderas, he's a 7. Let me see. Yeah, so those are some of the popular ones. And now what's interesting for you, so do you have any questions about your life path before I go into
but
the other part?
I can definitely see the balance of the 3 and the 7 because like I said, I'm extrovert, introverted, love adventure, but also I like to plan. So I have the balance. I can see the 2 numbers working.
Yeah. 3 is about spontaneity, fun, lightness, and the 7 is slow movement, analytical. It's interesting. You also have, so the 3rd number of your birthday numbers is your attitude number, and your attitude number is how you approach things. And so you have an 8 as an attitude, which means and tell me if this is right or not, 8s, and all the readings I've done, 8s are either spending money before they make it, or they're putting it all in the bank and they don't want to spend a dime. And so 8s constantly go through their life trying to do that balance. How much should I use for myself? How much do I need to save for a rainy day? And sometimes that's not balanced. Sometimes 8s are all the way on one side. You've got credit card debt. You've got all these things because you just like to spend. Or you're like, nope, I'm keeping my money. I'm not giving it to anybody. Which one are you?
That's hard. I think I'm always like, my constant battle in life is like, I want to spend because I want to have adventure, right? Like constantly looking at what vacation should I go on next, but then it's the that little voice in your head being like, no, you need to save your money and you got to save your money. And then last week, my challenge was not to buy anything off Amazon, and I totally failed. So I think
well, we all do that,
I'm a big spender, but I do think I'm pretty good with my money. I've always been pretty decent with my money growing up.
That's good. Yeah, because I would say when of all the readings that I've done, I would say 75% of the people that have 8 in their chart, they can't save money to save their lives. Like they're spend. And 8s are also the number of materialism. So that's why if there's somebody that has a 5 and the 8 in their chart, which actually you do have a 5 and 8 in your chart, but I see this more for men, where they like to marry the younger women. They like the flashy stuff. They like the cars. A 5 and 8 combination, there could be a little bit of materialism going on there. Now, for you, what's interesting is, and even though I'm not talking about your name numbers, your personality is also an 8. And so you have a double 8 in your chart. And so if one 8 is bad enough, but when you have 2 8s, it's like money, I would assume money takes up a lot of space in your head, like money and buying and what things cost and paying bills. I have never met an 8 that didn't have an issue with money. I'm gonna say an issue, but
I think my problem is I have like my husband calls it like my porn. I'm always looking at house stuff. Like my obsession is like always decorating my house, but it's like knowing when it is enough. And I definitely have champagne taste. Like I love the best of things, and it's okay. Like staying in the nice hotels, the best food, and it's okay. You don't always need the best of things. So I think there is a part of that in me for sure.
Yeah, that is a big 8s love the finer things in life. Just a little fun fact. Now, this isn't your life path, but it's a significant number in your chart. The 8 is. But Martha Stewart is an 8 life path. And remember when she went to jail because she got in trouble for insider trading, she didn't want to lose her money. And you look at Martha has built an empire. 8s can build and build. They're the number of the CEOs. They're the number of the visionaries. Like they're 8s. You need 8s to build things in life. Now, there was something else I didn't mention in your 7 life path. 1s, 5s, and 7s are all natural match energies. And 7s love to travel. And they especially like to be around water. 7s love water. So I'm not surprised you're talking about trips because 7s have to get out. Even though they're introverted, they like to travel.
Yeah.
Go figure that one.
My husband, he told me this after we got married, but my mom told him, be careful. She's the kind of person who's never going to settle down. Not like I'm not committed to him, but I love change. Like I thrive off change. Let's move somewhere or go on a vacation or let's do this new experience. So I'm always like searching for the next thing to try.
Remember I talked about the 5. And again, not to confuse you or your viewers or your listeners, but you have a 5 soul. So a 5 in your soul, you need to have change. You need to have flexibility. You don't like things that are constantly the same. And so that's when you might see that 5 come up. And your numbers are actually 5, 8, 4, 3, 7, 8. So you got 2 8s, you have the 5, but the 3 and the 4, it's like you got a lot of stuff going on here. There's some internal battles here because on one side of you, you're like, I like to have fun. I like to create. I like to go travel. And then the other side is we got to bring this down a little bit. But again, 7 is the magic number for you. So think about it in your life. Any number that either is a 7 or adds to a 7. The 7th of a day or the month, the 16th is an important number for you, or the 25th. Because you add the 1 plus 6 is 7. 2 plus 5 is 7. So any number combination, when you add the numbers across and you keep adding until you get one number, any number that would add up to a 7 is an important number for you, or the month of July, because July is a 7. Do you have anything significant happen in July?
My husband proposed to me. Krista was there.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 is a really strong number for you. So remember that you can't remember anything else today. Remember that 7 is your number. That's all you need to know.
That's because if someone had asked you what your number is or like your favorite number, I would just pick number 7. So I always rode the school bus number 7, even though I moved to different towns.
It's your life path number. Yeah. So remember I told you earlier on, 2 hours ago, whenever we started this, that you might see number. Like there are people that resonate with certain numbers and you love 7 because it's your life path. You're never going to get rid of it until you croak or whatever. But for the most part, so anything with a 7 is actually good for you. You're playing right into what your life's purpose is. Let me look and see some of the other notes I made here. Okay, what's interesting about you is you don't have any nines either in your numbers, your name, the letters of your name, or your chart, which tells me you don't suffer fools easily. It also means I don't think that you believe that people should be victims, that people just need to get on with their lives, pull themselves up by their bootstraps and keep going. So I'm not saying that you're not empathetic, but I do think that if you don't have a 9 in your chart, I think people that don't have 9s tend to think, you know what, like people just need to get on with their lives. They just need to suck it up and move on. And you're like, I don't need like all these services, all these things out there to help people. They need to do it on their own. And it doesn't mean you don't like humanity, but I just think you have a different view of it, that you think people should just get on with their lives. Would you say that?
I don't know, because when you say get on with their lives, what do you mean? Like they shouldn't seek out like therapy, or what do you?
I guess it's like you think that you don't suffer fools easily. I think that you could not stand somebody complaining about their lives for too long without wanting to do something about it.
Miraculously, she stood by my side for the past 2.5 years. So I think we're special. We have a special bond.
I guess that is true in a sense, because after a while, if people don't take responsibility for themselves, it's a little bit like there's only so much I can handle of that. Like, I will be there for someone to point them the right direction. But after a while, if you know your situation and you don't do anything to help yourself, I think that's probably when I would distance myself from that individual.
Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. But here's the other thing about you. You remember a little while ago, I talked about having an I as the first vowel of the name. And Krista and I have some things in common about that. But you not having a 9, I would guess that you probably didn't have a horrible childhood. I would probably guess either you've got a really good relationship with your parents, or that you just don't have scars from your childhood.
I would say that's true.
Would you say
I probably have the best parents you could ever wish for.
Because you don't have that 9, you don't carry a lot of the baggage that us that have a 9 in our chart carry. Do you have brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I have one older sister.
And I assume you guys get along really well.
Yeah.
And honestly, Amy, that is a gift. That is a true gift that you don't have a 9, that you don't have scars from your childhood, because most of us do. I'm speaking for myself, but most people do. Yeah, most people have scars from relationships in the past. And so that really is a beautiful thing.
I think that's accurate, because most of my family's all from England, and my parents moved here when I was like an infant. And so it's just the 4 of us who are very close.
Yeah.
So
I can see that, because now if you had a 9 in your chart, you probably had issues. Your parents you might have felt your parents loved your sister more than you. There's all kinds of things. But yeah, so that is beautiful. So let me just tell you quickly. So in addition to these numbers, you also have a personal year that you're in every year. Those go 1 to 9, just like everything else. Right now, this is interesting for you. This is your year. And I'll tell you why. Because you are a 7 life path and you are in a 7 personal year. How I get the personal year is I take your attitude number, which is an 8, and I add it to 2024. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 8, which is the year, which is your attitude, is 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. So you, and this only happens once out of every 9 years in your life, where basically this is a powerhouse year for you. But the theme is spirituality. The theme is being analytical. And there are things this year those are themes those 7 themes are going to run through your life. It might be that you find you want to be by yourself more this year, or that you have more opportunities to do things that speak to your individuality. But it only happens 1 out of every 9 years. And so this is a year for you. If there's things that you want to manifest, or things that you may have had a certain belief about, you might change your mind this year. And this could be a powerhouse year for travel. It can be a powerhouse year for you to finally tackle something that you have been thinking about for a long time and you just haven't made any action on it. But I'll talk to you again in December and see if this is the thing.
I love it.
I think that this year I would guess that you are probably going to change your mind a little bit about your belief system.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is the year to do it. Yeah. Yeah, and I might be wrong. I might be wrong, but this is out of any year, this is your year. Remember that. Anything you want to do, anything you want to create, anything you want to manifest, it can happen, especially with accuracy this year. But on the flip side of it, you might also be like, I need extra time to myself. I need extra time away from people. But yeah, so this is your year. 2024 is your year.
I love it.
Yeah, and so in this year, so as a 7, this is the last I'll do, and then we'll move on to Krista.
Okay.
But in a 7-year, pretty much what I've told you, in a 7-year, you might have a need to, like, you want to be more by yourself. You might start studying more things about spirituality or religion or whatever. But in this year, like 7s always, they need to know their purpose in life. And if 7s don't have a purpose in life, they're miserable. Because 7s really are a different breed than the other 8 numbers. And 7s, if they don't feel they have a purpose, they just don't feel like their life has meaning. And so for you, I do think that this is also a year where you're going to ask yourself those tough questions. What is my purpose here? What am I doing? What can I do differently? You're going to be in your head a lot this year. And again, I think you'll be in your heart a lot too, because I do think there'll be things that come to you this year that might make you reconsider your spiritual beliefs or your religious beliefs or your atheist beliefs or whatever. This might be the year that happens.
Okay, very cool.
Any questions for me?
No, I'm just interested because I feel like I started this year on in a good place mentally, like just happy with like where I'm at in my career, life, family, friends. I don't know. I just feel like in a really good place. So it'd be interesting to see this is my year.
Yeah. And again, intuitively, that's part of it is because this is your year. You're a 7 life path and you're in a 7 personal year. And next year you'll be in an 8. But let's go back a little bit. I don't want to confuse you, but you also have personal months.
Okay.
And so how you get personal months is you take the number of the month and you add it to the year you're in. And so you were in an 8-month this month. So did you have a lot of expenses this month, or did you have to make some important decisions this month?
Expenses. I did fix my freezer Friday. That was expensive. I've had a lot of house expenses lately. It feels like everything else
will
is
calm
breaking
down
at our house. I'm like, come on. So maybe that's it.
Well, and 8 is the number of compensation: money in, money out, money in, money out. And thank God we only have about 3 days left of this month. I'll tell you, relief is on its way. Now, next month, you're going to be in a 9 personal month, which is about letting go of things. It's also about relationships. You might spend more time with your family next month, or there might be some family issues where you're called on to help. And then March, you're in a 1, and then April, you're in a 2. But again, that's a lot to cover in this podcast. So just know that those expenses will calm down in the next couple of days, because you'll be entering into a night, and it might be that it's letting go of things. You might have to let go of some things in your house. You might have to you might have to finally make a decision. I can't have this person in my life. And that you might have that next month or November, because November is also number of 9, because you're in a 7 year, and then November is a 2. So 2 plus 7 is 9. When you listen back to this, you'll understand it. But if you don't remove people from your life next month, you will probably remove them in November, because that's another 9 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I loved it. That was really fun.
Are you still a skeptic?
I'm still a skeptic, but I still think me and Chris have talked about this at length. I think you can still use these tools as a way to reflect on what you want out of life.
And again, I would expect you to be a skeptic because you're a 7.
Yeah.
And 7s are analytical, and they're skeptic because they don't. What 7s I love about 7s, that we need 7s in our lives, because 7s don't take anything at face value.
She does not put up with bullshit. And I'll be honest with you, it's one of the many reasons that we became so close, is because she really helped me get through my divorce, of seeing the BS that he was trying to pull. And she's like, don't deal with this BS, walk away. And I'm like, holy shit, you're right. And then she's been consistent with that ever since. So,
and that's what I'm saying is we need Amy's in our
Mhm.
lives. We need the
absolutely.
sevens to ground us, and we need the sevens to show us the truth when we don't want to see it. And so we need those truth tellers in our lives, even though they can drive us nuts at times. We need them to ground us. We need them to say, look, here's all the facts. I've analyzed everything for you.
Yeah.
This is not
It's
what you want to
very
do.
true.
They're the ones that analyze. They're the ones that are thinking. I had a
Yeah.
friend. I had a friend that was a 7 life path. She would research everything to the nth degree. If it was a camera, if it was a camp for a summer camp for her kids, if it was a new recipe or a new computer. And it was beautiful because I could say, okay, well, you did all this research. Which camera should I buy? Oh, now, of course, now we have cameras on our phones, but this was a few
Yeah.
years
I
ago.
mean,
But yeah, but she would research everything before she'd make a decision. And I took advantage of that to say, oh, what do you know about this? What do you know about that? And sure enough, probably sevens read Consumer Reports for fun because, again, they're like always analyzing, want to research things. And again,
I
it's
love that.
intelligence. You're a very intelligent woman. And again, you have a 4 and a 7 in your chart. You've got a double dose of intelligence.
Ooh,
And that might also make people uncomfortable
okay.
because you are so intelligent.
I love it.
Oh man, I'm so excited.
Okay. So, Krista, now we're going to turn the fun to you now that Amy is a staunch believer in numerology. Yeah. And it's just so funny. I see these. So, Krista, let me just verify 10/5/1987, correct?
Yep, you got it.
Okay. Great. Okay. It's so interesting. You guys are being born when I was graduating from high school. But okay. Anyway, that's funny. Anyway, Krista, for you, I'm going to read your 3 birthday numbers. You were born on a 5-day, which you've heard, you guys already get familiar with these numbers. But with
Yep.
a 5, born on, and let me say that your birthday number is the overall energy that people see in you. Amy, people see you with your 3. They see you as fun. They see you as creative. So you might think I need to decompress because people will drain you.
Yeah.
People don't see you that way. People see you as fun and friendly because you're born on a 30. That's how I am. People don't even expect that there are times that I get angry and mad, but going through perimenopause, so they might change their mind. Anyway, so Krista, born on a 5-day, how people see you, the 5 is about freedom, fun, and adventure. For you, being a 5, born on a 5-day, again, it's a lot of things happening at once. 5s love change. They do not, and you do have, but this is interesting because you're a 4 life path, Krista. So it's going to run counter, just like Amy, where her 7 is more introverted and her birthday is 3 is more extroverted. You are flipped, where your birthday is more extroverted, but your 4, your life path, which we'll get to, is more steady. So I'll get to you because it'll be interesting when I tell you a little bit about your personal year. But so born on a 5-day, so you like to have change. You like to have new adventures. You like to travel. Remember, I told you you're in a personal 5 year this year, so you probably will be traveling more. 5s love to hear other people's stories, which is a part of why you're a gifted writer. 5s are always interested in learning how other people live. Because 5s are very sensory. And like I said, 5s have addictions because 5s are such sensory perceptors that they tend to have an addiction so that it focuses their mind because it's all over the place. And with a 5, they love to celebrate. They're also the life of the party. 3s and 5s are very similar, but 5s are more, the 5 is also the number of the gambler. So it doesn't mean that you're going to go to the casino, but being a 5 life path like I am, 5s means you will do things as a 5 that other people will be like, oh, I could never imagine doing that. But with 5s, it's people have said to me before, you're so courageous. I don't know what courage is. I just know I got to make a decision. I just got to move forward. But I guess people look back in my life and be like, oh my God, been a single mother for 15 years and doing this and that. And like,
And slaying it, might I add.
yeah, thank you. But likewise, people look at 5s and go, oh my God, they're so courageous. I could never do what they do. But at 5s, we know the path forward. We just got to move forward. But again, with 5 being gamblers on the opposite side of that, 5s again have addictions. And sometimes that will get in the way of their lives. And it can be a variety of addictions. Like I said, sex, drugs, rock and roll, shopping, even a pattern of thought. And Amy talked earlier in this podcast about patterns. Fives can get into patterns of thought where it needs to be interrupted. It's a habit. But with fives, it's always fives do not like stability. They like fives are to them like doing. And I could say this about myself, and I'm sure it's about you too, Krista. I can't do the same job day in and day out. To me, that is like the worst fate ever. So fives can't be accountants. Fives can't be any type of job where it's the same thing over and over again, because it will drive us crazy.
Soul sucking. Yeah. Soul sucking for me. I don't know if that resonates, but
Yeah. Yeah. We have to have variety in everything we do. And even in relationships, you might have friends that are younger than you, friends that are older than you, friends it's like we need variety. And so even for me, I can't even have the same type of K cups for my coffee. I've got to have variety. I need variety, which is probably why I've been single, because I can't, the thought of being with one man, that's why I divorced my ex-husband. But we need variety. And so for us, for a five, one of the best things about a five is to go into a store and be like, oh my God, there's 6 different varieties of Oreos. Which one should I try? Whereas some people are like, you talk about astrology. My younger son is a Libra. And when he was younger, we go in the store, I say, okay, you can pick out one box of candy. He would be a deer in the headlights trying to for an hour in front of a candy display going,
yeah.
I don't know what to choose, because a Libra's, they're
always
about
trying to
balance. They're
balance
about
it,
making decisions. And I cannot give my younger son a lot of things where he has to make tough decisions because he freezes. Although it was his idea to go to college in Colorado. But with fives, we can also be spontaneous to where we act before we think, because we just do our lives. We're spontaneous. We don't like any type of conformity. We don't like people. And fives, you cannot tell a five what to do. If you do, it is not good. It is not good. Fives, you cannot tell fives at all. And if you tried to,
I know that's true for a fact for Krista.
Can't tell
She will
fives.
explode if you tell her what to do. Oh, and not to go to dark stuff, but her ex-husband used to love to tell her what to do all the time.
Ooh,
another reason we didn't get along either. And he did try, and I'd be like, try me again, see what happens. And obviously we broke up. So.
Yeah, and I have a suspicion, and you've never told me, and I've never asked, it's none of my business, but I have a suspicion I know, and I'm going to tell you in a minute why I think that relationship didn't work. But okay, so that's your 5. That's the day you're born on. Now, you are a 4 life path. So remember which is in direct conflict with your 5 birthday. With the 5, what I see in you, because it's your birthday and working with you, I see you're fun. You're spontaneous. People love you. You love people. You like to get out there and do all kinds of fun stuff. That's how I see you. But your 4 life path tells me something different. What's going on behind the scenes? Your 4 life path tells me that for you, 4 life paths like to plan. They like to build. They like to fix things. They're the teacher and the student. So the 4 life path is the life path of the teacher. And so 4 life paths love to impart their knowledge on other people. They like to teach, and they also like to learn. So a 4 is either teaching or learning. But that's what gives juice to 4 life paths, is learning new things, filling their head with new ideas, which your 5 can help you with, by the way. But with a 4, it's about planning, the foundation. You have got, with 4s, they usually have to have plans. Now, again, I'm reading on the positive side. It might be that you don't like plans. It may be that you don't have to-do lists. But I would say that typical 4s have to-do lists, and they will write things on the to-do list that they've already done just to cross it off.
I have totally done that. And granted, I don't know if this relates to you either, Tina, but like when I'm not structured, and because of my ADHD, sometimes I'm not on all the time, I'm in chaos if I don't have that foundation. Complete and utter. What the hell's wrong with me? What's going on? Let me refocus, write that list. Let's get to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is you have to plan. You have to accommodate. And you need security. So you need to feel that you're safe. You need like anybody that's not, it's like people that aren't, that you feel are a little, how should I put this? I'm going to say unhinged, but for you, you just need security. And so being around people that don't have that can also make you nervous. You're very loyal. So I would say, I don't know how long you and Amy have been friends, but I imagine with you as a friend, you're a very loyal, faithful friend. Now, this is why I think you may, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, it's none of my business. This is why I think you and your ex-husband didn't get along as well. I think he was dishonest with you. And dishonesty is number one, no way, not acceptable with a 4. 4s will tolerate a lot of things. They will not tolerate liars and people being dishonest with them. And if he was not honest with you, it was curtains for him. It was like,
it was.
Bye. Yeah.
Yeah, not to get too much into those, but yeah, there was, I can't confirm this. I'm pretty sure he was cheating at the end. He certainly emotionally abandoned me. So that's a form of cheating in my humble opinion. But I think he definitely physically crossed the line. Don't know how or who or what, when, why, don't care. But he definitely lied about that. I think. And then he definitely he had a lot of traumas he never addressed, that he would put the curtains up. That, I'm good, when he was just hurting inside. Very traumatic childhood that he never dealt with and pretended he was fine.
Yeah. So I think, I could see that, where that, if he was dishonest to you, that was just not acceptable for you. Yeah, because you demand honesty. Now, on the other side of the 4s can be very critical of themselves and others. He may have complained to you that you were too hard on him, that you were extremely critical of him. Now, you had your reasons for why you said that, but 4s tend to be very critical or cynical if they're on the negative side of the 4. There was one client I did a reading for, and they had 3 4s in their chart. I was like, oh my God. So not only are the 4s are self-critical, but they're critical of others. And the more 4s you have in your chart, the more likelihood that you're critical of others, and you're going to have some relationships that might be compromised because of that. Now, you only have one 4. You just have your 4 life path, but it is something that you have to be aware of, that you could be over critical of people.
I think Amy can attest to myself, especially, and she's day one. She's always said, stop being so mean to yourself. And I can't stop once I get in that cycle. Often I've gotten therapy for it. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, I would say you're not so critical of people. It's more of yourself. But I think a lot of people are. I think Krista is, you've been working on it, but yeah, you are known to be your worst critic, which we all are.
I'm super mean to the point, of shit you would never tell anyone else, mean to myself level. That's for what? This is interesting.
I think there's that 4s do have a hard time silencing that inner critic, and that's going to be your life's work. I think most of us are critical, but I do look at it like, okay, you have your friends, your family, whatever, but in the end, you're by yourself. And to me, if you're not your own best friend, then I would never say anything like to my best friend, Jill. I would never talk to her the way that I talk to myself. So why would I talk to myself that way?
What you said about I would never talk to a friend that way. Amy's taught me this a million times over too. Why would I talk to myself that way if I would never talk to anyone else that way?
Yeah. And just know, when you get those doldrums, just know, okay, this is my 4. My 4 is being overactive, and I'm going to get through it. And that's where you turn to your friends, you turn to your spirituality, to your belief system, because I could see that. And I could see where you can be really harsh on yourself. But awareness is the first step to change. But you've got so many other beautiful things about you. And the thing too about you is the 4 life path, you're a teacher. They love to instill new knowledge in people, and also learn from their students. And so that is a path I recommend that you continue to take, because it's your essence of who you are, is sharing knowledge. And so it's a beautiful thing that you do that, because I can imagine, and even side note, when and unfortunately I couldn't make the one on Friday, but you were working with our team on, hey, here's how to do SEO stuff. And you had these really fun presentations. That's who you are. And so I would encourage you to do more of that as you continue on your life's journey, because the world needs your wisdom. And so keep on that path. Now, for you, you are in good company. Yeah. And what is, let me see, you are 10-5. You're a Libra?
Libra.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking you would have a Taurus in your chart, I would say too, because Taurus and Cancers are home bodies. But yeah. Okay. So some of the famous fours you're good company with. First and foremost, Oprah Winfrey.
No!
She's a
I'm
4.
jealous.
Sorry, Abe.
Yes.
I
My
got her.
girl.
Yeah, she's got her. Yeah. So look at Oprah. She learns and she teaches. She learns and she teaches. And so look at what she's done for our world. Her life path is steeped in being a teacher.
Mhm.
Bill Gates,
Mm.
Okay.
Elton John.
Oh, nice.
You're like this one, Brad Pitt.
Mm,
Which,
that-
side note, Brad Pitt is a 4 and Angelina Jolie is a 5, and that's why that was oil and water, because 5s and 4s don't mix. Yeah, Demi Moore,
Okay.
Oh,
Sarah Jessica Parker,
Oh, I like her.
yeah.
Sheryl Crow,
course.
I love her too.
That's one of my
Nicole.
favorite artists.
Yeah, Nicole
Oh,
Kidman.
she's talented.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger and
Arnie.
Frank Sinatra. They were all 4s.
Oh,
Or they are
wow.
4s or were 4s. Yeah. So you're in really good company. But yeah, most famous 4, when internet talks about 4s, they say Oprah.
Okay.
So you are in good
Hell
company
yeah.
with Oprah. Now, for you, we got just a little bit left here. So you remember I told you Amy has an 8 attitude. That's how she approaches life. The
Yeah.
8 about the money.
Absolutely.
So you have a 6 attitude. You and I have that in common. We both have a 6
Oh, cool.
attitude. So for you approach things of how can I build relationships? How can I improve these relationships? How can I bring creativity to what I'm doing? So 6s approach things like, I need people to help me.
Yeah.
I need people to nurture. I need things to nurture. Relationships are really important. It's like 6 attitudes approach things like, how is this going to impact a relationship that I have for the better or for the worse? But again, we have to be careful. And this kind of leans into what we were just talking about. 6s are always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And they're like, this can't be this good. It can't be this good because I know something's going to happen. And so you have to be careful of that. And you have to be careful, like myself, not to attract men who are emotionally immature that you feel you have to mother, or friends
Never.
you have to mother, or men you have. Yeah, 6s have to be careful because we are so nurturing that sometimes we might give a pass to these men.
Oh.
And then we find out, oh my God, this is not going to work. But 6s also have a tendency, like they think they know how to live other people's lives better than they do, similar to a 2, where 2s are the martyrs. Nobody sees me working this hard, and I guess I have to do it. 6s are like, I know better. I'm going to tell you what I think, and then if you don't do it, I'm going to be really pissed. 6s can also be they can get on their little high horse sometimes if they think they know better than you do. Yeah. For you and I talked about this when I did the reading for the team, but you are in a 5 personal year. Now, to me, and again, we don't have to get into this, but see, last year, this is Amy's year because she's a 7 life path and she's in a 7 personal year. You're a 4 life path. Last year was your year. You're 4.
Interesting.
4 is also the number of hard lessons and victimhood. And so I can imagine if 4s tend to be victims, I can imagine that's why Amy is good in your life, because she'll pull you out of that victimhood when she gets tired of it. She'll be like, okay, I'm going to let you go on and on for a little while, but then I'm going to have to tell you to stop and we're going to have to make a plan.
Sorry, snorting again. Spot on.
Is this resonating with both of you?
Very much.
Yeah. Amy, I came in. I'm going to let you feel sorry for yourself for a couple of days, but then we're going to have to make a plan because I can't have you doing this to yourself anymore.
That's so funny because last week Krista was upset about something. I don't want to get into the details, but I said, let yourself have a pity party for one day, and then tomorrow you're making a plan to get out of this. I literally gave you that advice last week, didn't I?
We need Amy's in our lives because, again, without that 9, she'll have sympathy for a while, or empathy or sympathy, whichever one. But then she's going to be like, okay, I've had enough. I've had enough of the pity party. We need to move on, and I'm going to help you because I love you and I want you to have a good life. So again, we need those Amy's in our lives. So 4 last year was probably hard for you.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably really difficult. And so that's the other side of it, is you can feel that, not just the positive side. You learn things, you're teaching and all that, but that other side of it is hard lessons for a 4. Just like Amy's going to Amy, I really think is going to start questioning her purpose in life and where she belongs and all that this year. For you, that was last year where it was hard. Last year probably sucked for you. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's funny. I kept saying this year I came into a really positive attitude and I was doing some reflection and I was like, 23 wasn't bad, but there was always a but, the cliffhanger, because the preceding years, 20 through 22, were the worst of the fucking worst with the divorce and COVID. I was like, ooh,
right.
That person, thank God, is dead. Thank God. But I was a shell of myself. And then I think 23 was exactly what you're saying. Like, I took all the prior, like, where I couldn't even do any self-work in those years. 23, I really started going through the mud, doing shadow work and really diving into the people.
Learning.
Exactly. And learning from that.
I would say that's true.
Yeah. And that was your 4. Yeah. So 4s are, it is, and Amy, not to scare you, but 8s are the other numbers of the victimhood or hard lessons learned. So next year, there might be some hard lessons that you have to learn. I'm not trying to say that to scare you. And it could be good lessons too. It could be, but you're going to learn some stuff. The 4s and 8 years typically tend to be a little bit more difficult. Now, and Krista, what's interesting, because I was in a 4 last year too. Was at where we're at, but I was in a different division and I was miserable. It was not a good fit for me. It was work, which is a 4. 4 is hard work. 4 is the worker bee of the spectrum. And it was hard. And I didn't like it. And then I turned it around when I went to the division I'm in now. But I'm a 5 life path. So I was not looking forward to my 4 year because I'm like, I don't like a 4. Not 4 people. I'm just saying I don't like the number 4 for me as much. But then I'm like, okay, I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to learn. I'm going to teach. But 4 hard lessons. So you're out of it now. Congratulations. Now you're in a year where anything can happen. Woo! Because it's a 5. And like I explained what the 5, I explained this. So Amy, just so you understand it, how I explained the 5 to the team when I was doing readings for them is that a 5 day is, remember I told you 5 is about spontaneity. It's about unexpected. So Krista, the theme for this year is to expect the unexpected and to pop popcorn, every day or every month, because it's going to be a fast year and it's going to go by fast. And at the end, you're going to be like, oh my God, I have whiplash from this year. And just when you think you don't have money, something comes up and here's money. Just when you think you have a bill you can't pay, the bill is forgiven or something. Amy, so this is when I was telling Krista before, in a 5 day, you get up in the morning and your alarm didn't go off on your phone or whatever. And you find out that you're late to a meeting.
Okay.
You get to the meeting, but then you find out the meeting's been canceled.
Oh.
Okay, that's cool. So then you get in your car and you're going to go have coffee with Krista. And then you get a flat tire. So then you have to come and have somebody fix your flat tire. So you can't have coffee with Krista. But the person fixing your flat tire gives you a recommendation for a new place to go to dinner. And you were like, wow, I was looking for a new place to go with my husband for dinner. So you make a reservation and you go to the restaurant. They lost your reservation. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Then next thing you know, a couple doesn't come in. So then you get their reservation and it's on and on. Multiply that over a year.
Okay.
And that's what happens. Now, all that stuff typically doesn't happen in one day. I'm a 5, so I will tell you it does happen that way sometimes. But yeah, and so 5 is one of those where it's compensation. And 8 is also the agent of compensation. Okay. But 5 is just when you think things are going to shit, things turn around. And they're great. And then they're great. They turn to shit again. It's just constant. But the thing in a 5 is settle in, put your safety belt on, and hold on for dear life, because it's going to be a wild ride. And I'm telling myself this too, because I'm in the same year. But I'm a 5 life path. I know how to navigate it better. In a 5 cycle, everything is crazy for me, or it's very calm. Because there's no in between for me. And it's a 5. And that's this year. It's either going to be really, really calm or it's going to be really crazy. But it's a fun year. Your 4 is probably going to feel a little overloaded because your 4 is going to be like, oh, no, I need to put this in place and this in place. But it's like the 4 is about building the foundation, but the 5 is the foundation is going to rock a little bit to make sure it's steady.
Yep.
Yeah. But a 5, you're going to look back on this 5 and there's going to be things that you've created, that you've engaged in, that you've done that you're like, I never thought I could do that. So this is a year for you, Krista. Take big risks. Remember I told you the 5 is the number of the gambler? Take risks.
Well,
Yeah. And you started that in October, which is really when the new year started, is in October, even though it goes into full effect the following January. Were you going to
How
ask something?
funny.
Oh, I was just saying, I think that's so in line because I feel like there's a lot of things in your life right now that's open-ended because your contract's ending at your current job and you're trying to figure where you shift next. So I can see that being true because I feel like right now your year's not really planned out exactly.
Exactly.
And here's the thing with the 5-year, you can plan and the universe is going to laugh its ass off because whatever plans you have, they're going to be thrown out the window. So the key word for this year is flexibility.
All right.
Flexibility. And I've already started the 5. I'm already that things are happening. Oh my God, I got this. I got to pay. And the next thing I know, oh, I got a check in the mail that's going to cover that. So 5 is expect the unexpected. Hold on. It's going to be a wild ride, but it's a year for you to take huge risks because you will be rewarded. Yeah.
Hell yes.
The other thing about 5 is you might change your mind about some things. There might be something that you have had a long-term belief. I'm not saying your spiritual beliefs. I'm just saying there might be something that you've had a long-held belief about or about something. Sure. I don't know what it is. But I know in a 5-year, in all my 5 years I've changed my mind fundamentally about something that I was opposed to.
Interesting.
So I don't know what's going to be this year. But like I've usually in a 5-year, you interrupt that pattern and you change your mind. And I don't know.
It's been percolating, I think, over the years, but really towards the end of the year, this notion that my ex was my quote unquote soulmate. Bullshit. No. And I think that was like really struggling. I was struggling the last few years to acknowledge and accept that. Now I accept it like, okay, bro, see you later. But I really believed that for 15 years. I believed that person was my person. And that was a mind shift. So maybe there's something else that'll change too. But that was definitely a big one for me.
So that is it. That is like a numerology in a nutshell, even though it's been a 2-hour podcast, and I'm sure you will cut this down. But it has been delightful spending this Sunday afternoon with both of you. Like I said, I knew as soon as I started doing Amy's numbers, I'm like, oh yeah, she doesn't believe in this stuff. I know she does. I can tell because she's a 7. But again, I hope that you both have learned a little bit more about yourselves today. And remember, 7 for Amy, 4 for Krista. Those are your numbers. So for Krista, for you, again, 4th of the month, or was it the 4th or?
Of what in the 13?
13,
right?
Yes, 4, 13, 22, 31 of a month.
Okay.
Or April. April's another, because April's a 4. Yeah, so April's a good month for you. Yeah.
Awesome. Tina,
Thank you so much for coming on our show. Honestly, it was a blast. This was really fun.
A true pleasure, Tina. And last plug for you is numbersbytina@gmail.com.
Yes.
All right.
And and a basic numerology report. Normally they're 125 for your listeners and your viewers. They'd be 100. I do Venmo. But yes, numbersbytina@gmail.com.
I love it.
Peace, Bewitches.
Yay.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on Instagram or bewitchbanter.com. Suggestions for the show? Emails at bewitchbanter@gmail.com. Credits, Music Phantom Fun by Jonathan Boyle from premiumbeat.com. Podcast edited and produced by Kristen Hinz and Amy Holt. As always, if you enjoyed, please rate, review, and subscribe.